Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Hi.
Hello, this is
Alexandra. Oh, hi, Ted. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of trouble getting onto this show. 1 second, I'm not even sure if I think it's broadcasting live. But 1 second, everybody, sorry. My internet went down the last second. I'm going to call my co-host, and I'll be with you 1 second. We just focus on getting her number into, because I don't have it all memorized.
Okay, thank you
it's
so
always
much.
something, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so everybody, bear with me. I'm calling my co-host. She's calling me. She's going, where are you? Here we go.
That's fine.
This will work. Hi, Ted.
Hi, how you doing there?
I'm doing fine, except for my internet went down at the last second. Okay, let's try this again. I got it wrong. Okay, Alexandra. Here she comes already. Did it right the second time.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
I understand you're up in Shasta right now doing a big
That's right.
broadcast. Very exciting
that's right.
to hear about it. I just heard about it today. Okay.
Oh,
Alexandra,
great.
are you there?
Hello? Can you call me on the landline? Janet, can you call the landline?
Wait a minute. I don't have that number on this phone. Let me see. Why don't I have it on this phone? Can you text it to me real quick? Okay, let me try this phone. I have 2 phones. It's like complicated. Go ahead and talk while I find her the number.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that's
Well,
Here
I'm here with the. Okay. Okay. Good.
Go ahead.
Hi there, Ted.
I'll tell you the number.
Yeah.
You
Hi.
guys
Nice
talk,
to talk
and
to
as
you.
soon as you hear the other number, you can hang up. Okay, 1 second here. Sorry for my internet went down right as I was dialing into the show, and it's like I had to reboot.
That's all right.
This is a reunion show. It's Connect, Create, Celebrate. And Ted and I and the Photo Foundation, we did a special blessing for Florida's water and around the globe. And with Irma.
Okay, go pick up that phone and hang up the other one so you don't get feedback.
There we go.
Okay.
So
hang up
with
the other
Irma,
phone. Okay.
Irma, we're just reconnecting again, and grateful to Janet and Dr. Sasha Lessin and Aquarian Radio that across the miles we can connect our hearts for a special show today. Create Paradise, TGIF, Gratitude Friday, Love Can Change the Weather. So thank you, everybody, for being on the show. Welcome. And we're even going to have a fun giveaway. These are free Smarty Charm downloads. And you can visit holotech.biz, and holotech is HOLOTECH, holotech, HOLO tech.biz. And we're talking about changing the weather with love. Well, with holotech.biz, you can drive emission-free vehicles, energize your life and surroundings with these free downloads from Smarty. So that's our giveaway today. So enjoy that website and energize your life, your surroundings. And we'd love to send, a lot of love and light. We're going to start today with the Pure Love Pulse and send that energy to Florida, actually anywhere around the globe that anybody has felt any type of trauma or fear or anything that pulled you away from peace and love and celebration, because we live on paradise. This earth is paradise with beautiful oceans, beautiful trees, beautiful mountains, and unfortunately there's some forces that don't want us celebrating, and our food has been contaminated, our water has been contaminated, our media has been contaminated. So this show, we'd love for you to come spend a couple hours with us. We tap into the pure love energy and send that energy out. And I have a friendship with Zora, and we have a term, anything that's not loving, you can identify it and not give any power to it. For instance, a hurricane is kind of horrendous, but you can recognize that and say, it's a no thing. I'm not going to give it power because it's not sending love energy, and that's where I come from. I come from love. I come from life. I come from celebration, and I know this earth we live on is an amazing, beautiful paradise, and that's what I want to live on, where everybody can have health and happiness and abundance, and I know that's what we've got. All we have to do is share it. So we really can change the weather. We can clear chemtrails, and we really are all in this together. So our theme of connect, create, celebrate is we can touch our hearts, and no matter what trauma, because the hurricane is impacting a certain amount of people, and then through the media they get more people involved. Well, we can come together on our show and touch our hearts, each one of us, and say we receive, or I receive, pure love. And know that heaven really loves you immeasurably, beyond measurement. And then you can say, I am love. And just say it to yourself or out loud. I am strong, and I am one with infinity, and I know it. And as we do this, because this is a very special call, we have amazing guests today. I'm so glad that Ted could join us, founder of Out of This World Radio. Ted connects with what we call the other side. And I was kidding that we could have a show called Wet Veil because we can talk to each other. We can connect with loving, trusting support teams who care about us, who care about the earth, who want to help us make the shift of the ages into an advanced paradise planet. So how do we change the weather? How do you change your own cellular memories so that your own cells can be in a state of peace, and not just peace, in a state of celebration of life? And you can do that through breathing. You can breathe. Just if something comes up that's not loving, breathe in, touch your heart, and say, I let this go. I'm not going to give it power because I don't want it in my life. I don't want drama. I don't want pain. I don't want whatever it might be. I don't want that. I choose love. I choose peace. I choose prosperity. I choose, whatever it is you want in your life. And then connect with your heart and say, I receive, accept, appreciate, and then whatever it is. And when you touch your heart and say those words, I receive, accept, and appreciate, and you can raise your hands up in the air. And when you do that, you're connecting with your higher self, with your crown chakra, out to infinity, and pull in the great love of the great central sun. And you're pulling in your pillar of perfection, the golden, white, silver light, your silver cord. And you just slowly bring your arms, down around yourself, and you can touch your heart and pour your gratitude into Mother Earth. And anytime, just breathe through your nose and receive. A big part of this is allowing yourself to receive, because so many, light workers, way showers, they have such a heart of gold. They want to help everybody. It's so important to spend time for yourself, to put yourself in this positive love field, and then keep it sustained. And, take breaks during the day, fun yoga breaks, or do breath work, whatever works for you. And I'm coming out with it's a guidebook called Let Joy Be Your GPS. It's an ascension manual, fun yoga exercises and meditations. There's tones and there's music, and I'm really grateful that we have Michiko, you have to come on and let me get this right, Hayashi, and she is with the Dr. Emoto Foundation in Tokyo. And Dr. Emoto is wonderful inspiration to many of us around the globe. He photographed water and how water reacts when you simply say, I love you, thank you, and a gratitude blessing, a sincere prayer, a meditation literally could change water, which had absorbed non-loving energies, into these stunningly beautiful crystals. So the power of love can change the weather. The power of love can shift your cells, because your cells respond to love, to positivity and gratitude. And so uplifting words and uplifting music and creating an environment in your home that's loving, all those things, your body reacts to them, because your cells are alive and they're just, some are starved for love, So just saying the words to your own cells is a great place to start. Just tell your cells that you love them and that you choose love and peace and health and prosperity, and they're going to react to that love. So changing the weather and helping connect with one another is what it's all about. And we have amazing, amazing support teams that are profoundly loving. And we're going to have an open discussion today about our support teams in the angelic realms, the spiritual hierarchy, inside Telos and the hollow earth. We have a lot of prayers and beautiful angelic healers that are willing and happy and ready and just waiting for us to ask for their help. So I really cherish this opportunity, that we can come together and ask for help to dissipate this, the hurricane as a no thing, because it doesn't come from love. And that it can dissipate, right, that it can veer to the right, and you can literally rub your hands together really fast, about 30 seconds, and create a vortex of pure love. When you rub your hands fast and then you pull them apart, you can feel the energy between your hands. Then you simply hold your hands up and point them in the direction of that hurricane, a drought, a fire, any kind of calamity, and just hold that for 30 seconds or a few minutes. And you can touch your heart and ask the Ashtar Command, Master Healers, the Peace Ships, the Hierarchy, beloved Masters, please help with this one. And just ask for their help. And anything in your life as well, ask for help And that's the message from the angelic kingdom, not to hesitate to ask, because ask us so we can serve you is their message. And we really are all in this together to help one another. And so, these are special times. There's a lot of love frequency saturating the earth. A message from Ashira and Grenier of the ship, the Neptune. On that ship, they are sending what they call Porlena C, the love frequency. And so just know that we have a Dhamma inside Telos and our beautiful Telosian family. We have our Hollow Earth family and messages from Zora of the Hollow Earth. We have Ashtar Command, Sananda, and the Peace ships, and Master Healers. So we have a lot of support. So please ask for help, trust and believe, and then be willing to receive and accept the help, because the heaven, truly loves you, and they want you to go out and enjoy your day in every way, and pain. A message from Ashtar is that pain isn't normal, whether it's emotional heartache or physical pain. On this call tonight, this is the opportunity to say, I want to let it go. I'm ready to let it go. I'm touching my heart. I'm willing to receive this pure love. I'm going to put myself, in this love cocoon and keep it sustained, and ask for my guides, galactics, to help me just release that I'm ready. And I'm ready, and I want to receive pure love in all areas of my life. I choose peace, I choose help, and I came here because I want to experience a paradise earth. I want to experience the hollow earth emerging and welcome our Telosian brothers and sisters and see us have a real thriving galactic society with cities of light and healing and laughter and rejuvenation and beauty. That's the earth I want to live on. So I feel like this show is for paradise sons and daughters to come together. We also have one more special guest, and that's Dr. Z, Vishan Ali, who is with the Physicians Committee. And they really are a foundation of love and peace and unity since the 1980s, pioneering.
And then on the second hour, we have Ruth Ann Friend, and she also is able to communicate with her deceased son on the other side. So we have a lot to fit in this show. Bring on our first guest, Ted, because he's bounced off 3 times. So would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about Ted Mehr, MEHR, of Out of This World Radio? Right now he's hosting a special gathering in Sacred Mount Shasta. And so go ahead if you want to say something about Ted. Let's get him on because we've got a lot to fit in. Yeah. And we just have like a half hour, 45 minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to have Ted introduce his colleague with the Emoto Foundation in Tokyo and his event, which is stellar, over in Mount Shasta, beautiful sacred Shasta. And Ted is the author of a book called Messages from the Masters, and he's very adept at speaking, with our loved ones on the other side, and he's also happy to help coach others to do the same. So you can visit his website. I'm going to let Ted introduce your website, your phone number, however you'd like the listeners to tune in. And if you'd kindly give us an update from Mount Shasta or anybody who might want to come through today, we sure love that.
Welcome, Ted. Oops, wait, sorry, got to put the mic on. Okay, my bad.
Okay, all right.
Aloha, welcome, Ted. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It's so good to talk to you all. Thank you so much for inviting me on today.
Well, we're so glad to have you here. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your work. We'd love to hear more.
Well, first off, I want to thank everyone who has accompanied me today to this mountain, because they're all special people. We have about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 psychics on board, and it's just so much fun to talking to them because we get messages from the other side all the time, and it's fun to compare notes because each of us has our own little take on things. I started my spiritual path back in November of 1994 when my foster mother did a reading for me. She told me everything that was on my mind and told me the questions I was going to ask and then answer them before I even had a chance to open up my mouth. So it was definitely a life-changing experience. And at the time, she was doing work on the side for the Seattle and Auburn, Washington police departments finding missing and lost children. And they would often hand her a piece of clothing, a picture or something, and then they would ask them what had happened to them. And it was hard work because a lot of the kids, of course, some of them had been murdered, many of them had been abused, and she was able to tell them with great accuracy what had happened. And later, when my dad passed away in March of 99, he came to my foster mother, Terry, and she taught me, he started coming to me through my foster mother, and then we started talking back and forth, and this led to about 13 years of psychic and spiritual instruction. And the spirits would give me tests all the time as to whether I got the messages and whether I'd actually follow their advice. And they do that now too. And I did what I experienced. I've done this hundreds of times. It's what's called a life review. And I was getting to the point where every day I was doing a life review. And a life review is where normally you don't do a life review until you die. And then you review every single word, act, thought, and deed that you ever did. And then you review it not only in terms of your perspective, but the perspective of the people that you interacted with, could be animals, the plants, the planet. And after going through that many, many, many times over many years, it really accelerated my spiritual development. I've lost kind of count of how many spiritual lifetimes I've advanced since that time, but my spirit friends tell me if each spiritual year is 80 years, earthly years on this third dimensional existence, I've advanced somewhere over 24,000 years, over 300 spiritual lifetimes during this time since 1994, which is like about 23 years so far. So it's taken a long time.
How did you keep doing these life reviews? What was causing you to do that?
Well, it was thanks to my dad, who's on the other side. He passed in March of 99, and my foster mother, Terry. They would go through all the things, and I would go through all the things I'd done each day, and they would tell me, and I would know how I affected different people. And I got to the point where I can read minds now, and I can look into the past and the future, but I'm very careful about people's privacy. I don't just barge into somebody's mind. Like, I just don't go barging into somebody's house. You got to respect their privacy. Mm-hmm. I only go into somebody's mind if I'm invited or asked to. That's one thing. But anyway, but this is all part of the process, and within 5 or 10 years, what's going to happen is that everybody's going to have this capability because the planet is rapidly accelerating. It must have been, this is 17, about 2.5 years ago, more or less, I had worked all day. I have a radio program in Seattle, and I just left this library where I'd like to work, and I was walking through this beautiful forest, and all this sunlight was coming through the trees. And I've been thinking about Professor Albert Einstein all day because I really admired him, and I thought he was a great man and I thought it would work. And suddenly I was walking through this forest, and Professor Einstein comes into my head, and he says, "I hear you're trying. Would you like to talk to me?" And I stopped.
Oh, wonderful.
And I said, "Is that you?" He said, "Yes, it is." I said, "I have to sit down on this one." And I said, "Sure, I'd love to talk to you." So for about 2.5 hours we talked. And he told me a lot of things, and finally about the future of the planet and how, for example, he would have never, ever created an atomic bomb if he had to do it over again, because he'd much rather been a cook or a state clerk at the patent office in Switzerland, in Zurich, than he would have created a bomb that could ultimately destroy the whole planet. Right. So after that, he said, "Would you like to meet my friends?" I said, "Well, your friends are my friends." So he then introduced me to Leonardo Da Vinci, and there's an interesting man. I really like Mr. Da Vinci. He actually did a lot of time travel back in his day. That's how he was able to draw all these submarines and futuristic flying machines and all kinds of things. So he time traveled into the future.
How did he do time travel?
He did it on the astral. He learned to do it on the astral plane. He learned how to do it when he was sleeping at night. He remembered everything. He wasn't from these parts. He was from out of town somewhere too. Another spirit who'd come in, and actually he said he'd been in Atlantis too. So I can bring them in today if you want.
Okay.
The only entity I don't like to bother too much is Nostradamus because he's always busy. I respect his time, and I do bring him in every once in a while, but he always looks at me and says, What do you want? Because he's busy. So anyway,
what about Nikola Tesla? I love Nikola Tesla. Have you ever brought him in?
Yeah, I brought him in many times. He's got a chapter in my book too.
Okay.
He said that he actually drew up the formulas for free energy, and then the U.S. government in January '43 took them, buried them, and used them in the secret space program at the request of the oil companies who wanted to keep us enslaved. I don't want to get too off tangent, but I want to hold that thought for a minute and just lead you some other things. So after Leonardo Da Vinci, I said, he said, "Would you like to meet my friends?" And I said, "Sure." So then he introduced me to Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and it turned out that Sirhan didn't even kill him. There was another guard who was actually employed by the CIA behind him who shot him point blank in the back of the neck. But that was all covered up by the police department in Los Angeles under pressure from the CIA, which was started by Nazis imported to the United States in 1945, 46, 47, 48, 49, 40, 50 by Harry S. Truman, who had no scruples, didn't like anybody who wasn't white, and he was really not a very nice man. But at any rate, and then, of course, as soon as I talked to Senator Kennedy, I said, "I'd love to talk to your brother," and he popped right in. So I've been talking to Jack Kennedy ever since that time. Yeah, I talked to him today, actually. And so they formed the basis of my book, and they wanted these messages to get out. So, and we can go into that in a minute. But then after talking extensively with Jack Kennedy, I really wanted to talk to Dwight D. Eisenhower because I liked him. He made some mistakes, but I did like him. I think he had benefit. He wanted to create a better planet. He was a good person. So I talked to him at length. And then that led in turn to Nostradamus and then Nikola Tesla. And then Mahatma Gandhi came to me, I think, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. He came in one day. And he was a fascinating guy. Any one of these would be worth at least an hour on the show. So
wow. We'll do some more shows for sure. Now that we've found you, we will definitely do longer shows and flesh this out because I've always been in contact with the other side. In fact, I came in pretty conscious and aware of previous lifetimes and that I was always being contacted by extraterrestrials, interdimensionals. I had to tone it down just so I could live a normal childhood. A few years back, I started getting like when Michael Jackson died, he kind of invaded me for a few days, and I had to sit down and do therapy with him.
Really?
My husband is a psychotherapist. Yes, because he was so upset when he died. And then I've had a number, but what's that?
Was he poisoned?
You know, we didn't talk on that level. He just came through in full catharsis, and I allowed him to speak through me and. Basically, using my body, I cried for about 4 or 5 hours. I kept having to drink and rehydrate while he was processing.
Wow.
He came in with Farrah Fawcett. Farrah Fawcett was holding him.
Oh,
and
wow.
then after he processed, so my husband's a psychotherapist, so after he did all this catharsis, he said, she tapped on my shoulder. She wanted to come through. So she came out. She says, Dr. Lessin, first of all, Michael just thanked my husband and thanked me for allowing him to use my body and talk and do his processes. And then she said, Dr. Lessin, please learn how to do this. Do this type of therapy with the people on the other side that are in this bardo that are stuck because she said, I'm looking around and they're all over here and they need help like Michael does.
Yeah.
She said, but I'm not sticking around here. My family's waiting for me and I'm going. And I prepared for my death. But a lot of these people have not prepared for their death. They don't even know they're dead, or now they're here and they don't know what to do with themselves. So I was kind of given a mandate. So I said, oh, okay, I will. But, my life got busy and I haven't had time. So I think it would be great to learn how to do this, to have people that would be volunteers to help these people, because there's a whole lot of people that are in between that can really get behind the healing of this planet and the evolution of consciousness for all humanity. So anyway, it's just an idea. I'm putting it out there. I'm so excited to meet you. I had no idea exactly who you were, but I have a lot of questions. So we'll have to do a series of, if you're available, and talk to all these different people here. Yes.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, let me, before I forget, there's also the Galactic Alliance as well, and they're an alliance of 450 million planets, approximately 7 trillion entities, and it's 1/3 of the Milky Way galaxy. And I've been in touch with them for about 3 years now, over 3.5. And I asked for and received protection from them. There's 3 galactic spacecraft protecting my group today, and I've been told everybody on their way home. We have people from Sweden, Australia, England, Japan, Florida, wherever they go, they're going to be protected. And if they like, they can look outside their aircraft window, especially at night. During the day, they get themselves cloaked, but during the night, it's easier to hide. And it's very distinctive. There's 5 dots in a circle that is the craft are, and then they have a larger white light in the middle. They are between 50 and 100,000 years ahead of us technologically, and 30 to 50,000 years ahead of us spiritually. There's a way to connect to them. It's very simple. I'll teach you the technique now. It's very simple. It's called the hue, H-U. It's the hue in human. I mean, it's so obvious. Yeah. We're all humans, right? So it's the hue. And what you do, if you use this meditation technique, when you say it, it opens up your pineal gland and also your imagination. So I'll just say this briefly now. And it goes like this. Hue. And if you say that a couple times a day, and if you're around people who might think you're kind of weird or out of this world, then you just say it to yourself. And the Galactics will come in and help you with almost any situation. I've got quite a bit on my website. My website is www.outofthisworld1150.com, and you can just look at that if you've got any, more. But yeah, and then there's other entities I've talked to in the past. Benjamin Franklin's one. Mother Mary's come through before. And then, of course, I do readings for people, and then all kinds of stuff can come up. It's easier for me, actually, to go into the fourth, fifth, and higher dimensions than it is to be here in the third. But I know I've got a contract to fulfill, so I'm here for now.
Right.
But anyway, so... But one of the people who I really had liked and admired, I never met him. He was on my show once in July 2014 with Dr. Masaru Emoto. And I just happened to have his former assistant. She's a couple of feet from me here. And she now does the Emoto Peace Project. If you like, I think if it's okay, I think she'd like to say a few words as well, if that's okay.
Oh, that'd be great. Are you complete? I just want to know that you'll come back another show or come back later. We are kind of booked really full today. We're just making connections and saying hi, aloha.
Sure.
We will definitely slow this down. I love to go into all these, especially the Galactic Federation, but I'm 63, so I was alive in functioning brain cells and aware when both the Kennedys were killed, and that deeply affected myself, my childhood, my world.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to know more about all that. And,
well, let me tell you just
all this.
Let me tell you real briefly on the JFK assassination. They were murdered by a combination effort by the CIA, the Federal Reserve banks, who else? The mafia. I mean, there are a bunch of bad guys out there who had their reasons for killing Jack Kennedy. Did you know the day he was murdered, he'd sent a French journalist to talk with Fidel Castro, and he was actually talking to Fidel Castro, and they were planning on normalizing relations at that time. So all this 60 or 70 years of just a bunch of nonsense of this fighting between the U.S. and Cuba wouldn't have even happened. It would have, wouldn't, He also had ordered the CIA to disclose all the UFO records, make them public 10 days before he was murdered. He also signed an executive order. Earlier that year, he bypassed the Federal Reserve banks, which are not federal and they're not reserve. And he ordered the U.S. Treasury, which under Article 7 of the U.S. Constitution has the sole legal authority to issue currency, to start issuing currency for the United States. So the banks had reasons to get rid of him. But look at the kind of government we've had in the United States. It's been a disaster since then. We had Johnson, who was Johnson. I don't even want to say about him. Nixon. I don't. Yeah, you know, Nixon was like, I'm not a crook.
Right.
Gerald Ford was controlled. There's a section in my book about Jimmy Carter. You know about Jimmy Carter?
I don't know what you know, but what about from your perspective? What are we to know about Jimmy Carter?
Well, look at his pictures. Before, I think it's April of 1979, President Carter always parted his hair on the right. And after April of 79, he always parted his hair on the left. It happened in 1 week. If you talk to any medical doctor, they will tell you that it's impossible to change your parting of your hair in 1 week. And the reason why it's changed is because the real one was killed and replaced with a clone. Now, people may think I'm really out of this world to say this, but I know all about the cloning stuff. Yeah. Okay. Because I interview all these people. If it's out of this world, I've interviewed them, or I'm seeking to interview them because I'm really unraveling the mystery of what's going on here. So, so they killed Carter. Why? Because he had ordered UFO disclosure once again, and they got rid of him. Okay. Yeah, this is a long story what happened to him. So. Well, we will go into all this. Let me just say one last thing, and we'll bring on. We'll bring you on. Just one more thing. This is Alexandra. Just one more thing to who are we talking to? Ted. What was I going to say? Oh, and I want to go into this is my wish list for a future show. Now, we'll put this teaser out there. What was Eisenhower doing making these agreements, and what was going on there? You know, the month I was born, February '54, there were all kinds of agreements with the extraterrestrials, apparently the Greys, and then the Tall Whites or the Anunnaki. I mean, we've got a lot of pieces of puzzle we can unravel together. But go ahead, what were you going to say? Well, I want to back up a little bit to Jack Kennedy. He wanted me to tell you one thing. Okay. The cabal was active back in the 60s, and the negative forces within the U.S. State Department had fabricated the story about Oswald being the sole killer of Jack Kennedy. And he says, if you want proof of that, contact the library or look it up on the web for the Christchurch, New Zealand newspaper of November 22nd, 1963. The reason why I'm saying that is because Christchurch is about, 18 or 20 hours ahead of the United States. And what the cabal had done is that they'd ordered the State Department around the world to issue this fake story about Oswald being the sole killer and blah, 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 all these details, which is totally fabricated, on November 22nd. The problem is that in New Zealand, the U.S. Embassy in New Zealand had forgotten that there was a day difference between New Zealand and the United States. So they, in effect, released it on November 21st in the United States, which is November 22nd in New Zealand. And that's what they do. They're so cocky and arrogant. They just the challenge is, can we figure this out? And we're so stupid we don't put the pieces together. The good thing is, their power. There's another example. Right. I'll give you another example quickly, and then I want to get Mitch going. 2 years ago in Brussels, where they had was it Brussels or Paris, where they had all those shootings? I think it was Brussels and everything. Yeah. Okay. Well, guess what? That story about the shootings and everything was released 2 days earlier in Mexico City and a day earlier in Britain, London, in newspapers, controlled by the cabal. before it happens.
Wow.
48 hours before it happens, released in Mexico. Then it happens. Okay. Anyway, you're talking
they're
about.
Just so arrogant. Oh my God. They don't.
Yeah, well,
they
made a
know
mistake.
these
Yeah,
together.
they were following orders by the cabal. Now, with respect to President Eisenhower, he was mind controlled. He had been offered 6 months earlier technology and spiritual advancement from the Pleiadians to spiritually advance the United States and create a really peaceful world and get rid of all wars. But they said they had to get rid of his nuclear weapons, and he refused. And so then the Greys, the reptilians, show up and said, "You can keep your weapons if you want. We want to just study you." Study means abducting people.
Right.
And so Eisenhower didn't like them, but he was mind controlled, and the reptilian ambassador threatened him by saying, "Well, if you don't agree to this agreement, we're going to go to the Soviets and give them this technology, and they'll become the preeminent power in the world." So they
because the
accepted
Nazis had already received it 40, 50 years or 100 years before. The Nazis had all that technology going into World War II. So
right. They were helped.
They brought it
by
to
the
the U.S.
Right.
So
there's a lot
of
of stories to tell you about that, including implants.
But what do you know about the Anunnaki? Because the Anunnaki is my forte.
Reptilians.
I want to pull them. I don't think so.
They're reptilians.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that.
That's another
we're all
story.
reptilians. We all have reptilian DNA, so but they don't look reptilian. But,
that's That's going. You're you're trying. It's kind of like asking, trying to describe the history of the world in 25 words or less, and it's difficult because it's hard to get everything in.
I understand. I understand.
But one of the most important things that Dr. Emoto showed people was that we're all powerful spiritual beings, and we have the capability to create a beautiful, beautiful planet if we want it. And with that, I want to bring Michiko Hayashi on.
Okay.
And here she is here.
Thank you, Ted. It was lovely talking to you, and we'll have you on as soon as we can, maybe next week even, but we'll have Alexandra talk to you about scheduling.
Oh, that would be
after
wonderful. I have so much to say, but I want to be polite, and Michiko's here and give her the floor as well.
Excellent. Okay.
Hello, Alexandra.
Hi. welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you guys.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, awesome. We're really blessed to have you tonight on our show and bringing in the love frequency from sacred Mount Shasta.
Thank
and
you.
Dr. Emoto and your heart. And also, you guys, today you had a beautiful message from Adama. Yeah.
Right.
So we're just grateful to, one of the messages Adama shared is, soon they will be able to emerge. And that's, it's such a blessing for all of us to be part of co-creating.
Right.
So if you would kindly introduce yourself, your vision for Paradise, and if you'd share with our audience your website, how they can learn more about Dr. Emoto's about gratitude, the impact of gratitude, the impact of love, the impact of positive words, positive, loving meditations. They're very powerful. And if you would kindly share how people can learn more about Dr. Emoto's vision, his books, and so on, that would be
awesome.
Alexandra,
we lost them. Let me try to call them back.
Okay.
Okay, hold on one second while I call them.
Sure. Do you see 954 area code in the caller line?
Yeah, I do. You want to talk to that person? Yes, I'll put them on.
All right.
Area code 954, you're live.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Is this Del?
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the show, Del. We're on Aquarian Radio. Del is presently in Miami, Florida, and the purpose of our show today is to send extra TLC to help dissolve the hurricane over there. And Del is a songwriter, who would love to share a song about unity, peace, and love. And it's a great way to welcome our segment on Dr. Emoto. So we appreciate your song. Bill's also a videographer, and he filmed an event in Florida with the Dr. Emoto Foundation and Ted's Out of This World Radio. So, Dale, if you'd like to sing the chorus, we can invite our listeners to join in, and we're just sending love, peace, and unity.
Well, it is a pleasure for me, to listen to the radio. And I want to say, hi, to everyone that's listening. And, of course, I'm going to, do the chorus, and they all can join me. And later in the future, I'll probably sing the entire song for you all. Okay?
Wonderful. Okay.
So, you want me to start now?
Yes, that'd be great.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Please share your song.
Unity for peace. Unity for love. Unity for peace. Unity for freedom. Oh. Unity for peace. Unity for love. Unity for peace. Unity for freedom. Oh. Unity for peace. Unity for love. Unity for peace. Unity for freedom. Oh. That's it.
Nice.
If anyone would like to say it, we could just say it together.
Janet,
so,
do we
Dale,
have...
well, I was just wondering, you're over there in Miami. How are you doing? How's it going?
I'm maintaining because we have like a hurricane that coming. Hopefully, it's probably like it's probably 95%. It probably like hit the shore in Miami, and from Miami almost to like Fort Lauderdale, different places. This is like look into to see where the eyes of the hurricane is going. So if we miss it, we'd be lucky, but we're quite sure there's gonna be like some damage that's gonna happen in Miami. Hopefully, like it could exit to lead somewhere else.
Wow. Well, we're sending all our love and prayers and meditations and envisioning this hurricane to just dissipate and go nowhere. Over here in Hawaii, we get a lot of hurricanes that are forming, but they come and they hit the Big Island and they just go poof. So we have that phenomenon that happens here. We see them go poof. So let's just imagine a big giant mountain, a spiritual psychic mountain. That's just going to make this wind go poof. And it really does, very quickly. It's just like, it's coming, and all this drama, and all of a sudden, poof, it doesn't do anything. It loses.
Wow.
It's a huge one, Category 4 or 5, coming. Nope, it doesn't do anything. So let's just envision that. And, we're magical, mystical beings. We can do it. We are doing it. We're not can. Can is the future-facing and contrafactual and wanting. So we do it. We do it. Simply like that. Poof. So.
Okay.
All righty. We've got back Michiko. She's back. Are you ready for Alexandra? You ready to talk to Michiko?
Yes. Thank you for.
Okay. Thank you so much, Del, for the beautiful song.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Much love to all of you. I want you back on.
Much love to you. Blessings. Okay.
Blessings.
Back with Michiko. We lost you. Welcome back.
Hi, this is Ted. Here's Michiko now. Sorry we lost you.
Okay, thank you. That's okay. We're making it happen. I'm back. Yes. Well, go ahead and tell us about yourself and your work, and we're all ears. We want to hear everything about you.
Well, thank you. I worked for Dr. Mota as a personal assistant for 10 years and a half until the day he passed away in 2014. But in 2011, when we had that Fukushima disaster and nuclear accident, Dr. Moto decided to register a nonprofit organization called in Japan so that we can help those people in Fukushima also with water. And since then, I have been working on this Emoto Peace Project and spreading the message of water, how water is deeply connected to our individual consciousness, also collective consciousness. And whatever happens, or for example, the disasters are happening right now in many places are related to our consciousness or our thoughts or our water observes our emotions. And then that the negative because everything is water. So I think talking in my history showing different that people did before. Hello?
Okay, good. Hi. So what I was wondering, a question, if we all focused on the waters around Fukushima and the waters that are going through all the mechanisms, can we somehow neutralize all the negative effects and reverse all the damage?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, love and gratitude to water, then immediately
we're having trouble hearing you. We've got a bad connection. I'm not sure what's going on. Better connection when Ted was talking. Do you have a different phone? Are you in a different location?
Phone. Can you
there we go.
Now?
Now we can hear you. Yeah, something was happening where every other word was. Okay. So I asked about the. You were saying that the love and gratitude. How could we, as a powerful people on this planet, turn Fukushima around and negate its negative effects, clean up the waters because we've got all these fish and the krill and everything dying apparently from Fukushima. So it's really critical for us to do this, not just a luxury. Like, So what would you recommend?
Yeah, firstly, I'm so sorry this has been happening, and Fukushima has been causing this problem all around the world. As one of the representative of Japan, I would like to apologize and send apologies to everyone. And what we can do now is collectively, our collective consciousness, our thoughts are really powerful. It amplifies the energy. And love and gratitude together is the immunity. It boosts up the immunity. And when we send out collectively love and gratitude to water, anywhere, all around the world, wherever you are at the same time, the water receives that energy, a beautiful energy of love and gratitude. And then it cleanses the water, the water molecule instantaneously. Then water goes all around the world at the same time. So that's how it works.
Right. It's one big. So if we love the water wherever it is, including the water that runs through each person, because we drink and eliminate. We're part of this big, giant ecosystem that we could neutralize and heal. For me, when you were saying that, I was getting that part of the reason, thank you for apologizing for Fukushima, but I think it's a global phenomenon that these things happen because there's anger in the world and there's fear. And anger and fear create things like the hurricanes and Fukushimas and these disasters.
Exactly.
So if we work on ourselves individually to identify our own disconnects from each other, our own anger, our own fear, the microcosm reflects the macrocosm.
Right.
So we can use Emoto's process of healing all the waters within and without, and throughout.
Exactly. I
The
mean,
whole planet,
we are really water bottles, and when we see water crystals, they're showing what kind of anger is, what kind of crystals that angers and fears and negative emotions are creating, and what beautiful crystals that are positive emotions are creating. And we know that we are more than 70% water ourselves, and the environment is, and the Mother Earth is, then the most important thing is to know that our emotions are the ones that is creating everything.
Right. And then we're no longer victim. We're no longer victim. We're going, I've got this thing going and I can't control it. It's outside of me. No. The buck stops here at each person individually and collectively, and we can do something about it. Okay, what do? I change channels. I think positive. I act positive. I do positive.
Yes.
If I say a harsh word, I take it around and say it again and pull that energy down to the heart chakra. And say that again kindly. That's all. And it changes the world. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I get talking. Go ahead, Mr. Michiko. Say that last sentence again.
We're human beings, so we make mistakes. A lot of times we get angry, we get scared, but as soon as we notice that we're being angry or we're being scared, then we change our emotions, and then thankful or happy, then joy is the most beautiful crystal also, and happiness is the most beautiful positive thought feeling. So when we are all in the state of joy, then we'll be in the same state of joy and happiness.
Yes. Wow.
So we can do that.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Mm-hmm. And in Hawaii,
thank you so much.
Like in Japan.
Yeah, go ahead. In
Hawaii,
you're welcome. Yeah, we have just a couple more minutes, and then we've got to pull on our next guest.
Okay, in Hawaii, in Japan, we're surrounded by oceans, so
we just
send out our happy and grateful emotions, and that the water will be happy. If you can, hello.
Hi. Well, we're going to have to cut this short because our connection is really bad, but we really appreciated you coming on. I will do this again. Maybe next time we can get a different connection on the phone. It might be because you're out in wonderful Shasta.
Right. We're in Shasta. Wonderful Shasta.
Wonderful
Thank
Shasta.
You so much.
Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. We're going to go call our next guest.
Okay. Thank you.
And Alexandra, go ahead and talk a little bit. Well, I call on our next guest. Go ahead.
Oh, I just for the first hour, thank you all. I'd love to share that when we were going to bring Ted back on and Michiko, and we'll give some updates on awesome advanced technologies, the Lemurians and their technologies. They can help us clean up the water, and I'm so glad that Ted shared the hue. And, tonight, our listeners, we can put the request in from Touch Our Hearts and say we really appreciate, accept, and receive your support. Lemurian technology can clean this up. Zora of the Hollow Earth has a ship that he rides on that's 24 levels with Prime Creator as needed, and Jermaine and other folks who are helping us. So we're on the cusp of really to paradise on our earth. So I really thank everybody. Thank you, Del. Thank you, Ted. Dr. Z is standing by. He's always wanting to help us. They have a 21-day free program, and you can go to our show and sign up. And these 21-day programs start weekly to help make the shift to peace and food choices. So that's pcrm.org. So we're right on the button to bring in our second hour. I'm going to let Janet take over the helm and introduce our next guest. So I thank everybody.
Excellent. Okay, so let's see. I think this is our guest, Ruth Ann Friend. Let me pull her on. Hi, Ruth Ann. Nope, I lost your call. Let's try that again. Oh, goodness. Technical difficulties. I'll try her one more time. Make sure I got the right number. Okay, let's dial again. We do have Melodina. Did you want to talk? Have her talk?
Oh, I'd be happy to introduce Melodina, who...
Okay. Let me try this call one more time, and if I don't get a hold of... Okay, let's see.
She can introduce
I have a
that.
backup number. I'll try her backup number.
Okay.
Okay.
The power of love really can change the weather, and wherever you live, you can step out and clear chemtrails. You can, if we bring Melodina on, she can share that she learned the technique.
Okay. Well, I've got to honor my agreement with my guest. I just think I was putting in the wrong number. I think I have it right now. Okay.
Oh, you got it.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if she picks up.
Hello.
Hi, Ruth Ann.
Hi.
Welcome
Yes.
to the show. It's Janet Lessin and Alexandra Bernardez, and we're live on the Aquarian Radio show, aquarianradio.com. And instead of reading the bio, Ruth Ann, it's better if you tell our listeners who you are and what you want to talk about today.
Well, my name is Ruth Ann Friend, and I have experience with the spiritual, paranormal, and ET universes and worlds. My son and I, his name was David, have both been with all of this happening to us since we each were children. So, and I also am a Reiki master for 26 years and have taught that at college level. And I do hypnosis, sometimes past lives. And that's who I am. That's what I do.
Wonderful. So your son, when you were alive, were both contacting experiencers? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said your son is David, and he's now crossed over. We
Yes.
had the first hour of the show, we had Ted Mehr, and he talks to all kinds of people that are on the other side. He has a Out of This World radio show. So we'll have to have you on at the same time sometime. But you could share notes. But just to summarize your story, is that you and your son, while he was on this side of the veil, you were having extraterrestrial contact. Is that correct?
Yes, ever since we both can remember. I mean, ever since I was a small child, and then when he came into Earth, he chose to come back. He reincarnated back so we could work together again. In all past lives, we've always worked together. So he, when he was about 5 years old, he told all of the family that he wouldn't live very long, that he would die young. He knew his whole journey. So it's pretty hard when you know these things, but we knew why we came here, both of us, and our goal is to help as many people as we can. So we could see into the spirit world and do the readings from the other side and travel with the ETs, and just had tons of experiences through all of these years. So I still am connected with him, even though we work together in a different way, even though he's on the other side. But he's back again on the ships and how we worked before when we were on the other side.
So he's on a ship now. So he's not in. Just explain that to us. So the extraterrestrials are connected with.
Yes. We worked on the ships before we came here again, before we reincarnated back. So he's back doing the work that we did in another time and another space, another dimension. So that's where he is.
Who are these beings? What ships who are they read by?
Okay. Well, we're involved with several different councils. Some of them are called the Tri-Council. Some is called the Etheric Council. Some's called the Intergalactic Council. We have the Tri-Council. So we work with many different species. And the only species that we've ever worked with are the like the Christ-like beings. They're very benevolent. They're all about love and compassion. And I have wonderful messages from them. Not only did we see them solid, but we also they had us take down their messages for years and to keep track of them, date them. And I didn't know why at that time. But then they told me about a year and a half ago that they wanted a book written, and they wanted their messages in the book because they want people to know the truth. And so I had all these messages over all these years, and that's what I began to do. The thing is, there's going to be more than one because this was happening over years and years, and I kept track of it.
Wow.
So,
how did you write that down? Were you a fast writer? How did you keep it get it all down?
Well, actually, a lot of them they wrote and they signed in universal script. Also, many of them I wrote as they told me. So I was writing it down, and I explain all this in the book and how loving and benevolent they are, and they warned us about other species who were negative, and so we would know if we came across that type of being.
Which species are negative? Here's my confusion. I work with a lot of people, and there are some people that say, "Oh, those reptilians are bad," and then I talk to other people. And they say, no, I have a kind and loving relationship with a reptilian. And it seems to me, after talking to, I've been doing this radio show for 7 years now, is that it's really difficult to judge a species as all bad or all good. But there are individuals, like we have our Christic consciousness, we have our Hitlers, that are good or bad. But even within, like Hitler, he loved his dog, and he had a girlfriend or whatever she was. So even those people that are pretty hideous to the world still have the ability to have loving connections with people or things or whatever. So what did you find? What were they saying were the bad species, the negative species?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's just like I have in the book here, I should have had that open to that. They talk about how in their universes, their worlds, that they are divided by how we are divided by certain countries and races and so on like that. And theirs comes a different way. But there's one thing they wanted me to put on the back of the book cover. And I'll just, if you want me to read it, I will. Okay, this is their words. This is not mine.
Okay.
Okay, they said they want to talk about what their purpose is. and here they go, they say, that the time has come for me to write this book to teach others the real truth about them and why they come here. We both are a large part of their growing colonies to let the ETs adopt and learn from about the human demeanor and softness of emotions and personalities of the offspring. The new colonies will be ready to interact more as earthlings and humanoids. You both have shown us here about parental love, nurturing babies, emotional development, and most of all, love, and who we call our universal soldiers. You both have been universally celebrated by the Galactic High Councils and Christ-like beings in your work. This is a success to you both being so dedicated to the change of human development. The world one day will finally learn how to live together in love, and war will be abolished and in time forgotten except in history. The two of you who belong here with us are working for the greatest cause of all, love and compassion among all living earthlings. The spiritual movement now will be larger and larger to make the transitions needed before man completely destroys everything on planet Earth. So they wanted that on the back page. But their messages all the way through, we talked just like you and I are talking, or I mean, it was they were our second family. They were our family. We had our beautiful, loving Earth family, but we also have our ET family. So we were sent here to do many things and in our work. So we met with many councils, all kinds of councils, but only the benevolent. They did warn us of 2 species to watch out for, and I did run across those, my son and I, 2 to 3 times, but it was no problem because we knew what to do. But
what species
you know,
were
it's
they?
like,
who did they warn you about?
They described them as the lizard-looking ones, and I want to mention something else. We can't blame all of them that may look that way because some are benevolent and some are not. You know, they're malevolent. So it's like people, and I talk about this in the book. What they wanted me to say. Our human race, a lot of people are nice and a lot are not going to be nice. So where they travel and would take us, they generally were always teaching us from little on. They were teaching us universal language. They were showing us past, present, and future times. They were showing us the wormholes, how the travel works. It just went on and on and on.
Wow.
And many times they would set us down in the ship. They would break us down into energy to go with them. And we went so much that they had to take us in from time to time to re-energize us. They said the breakdown as we went all the time was extremely hard on the human body. So they would set us down in front of a big screen, and all these things would run by like a blur, but they said not to worry because all of it was being put into our brainstem, and when we needed it, it would be there to use. So we did this a lot also.
I've been in front of the big screen. And they showed me 24 potential future history multiverses where, you know, we could go. And one was to the annihilation. The other was, to the other extreme was, utopian. And then they said, each person is a chooser. I was a chooser. Where do you want to go? So I've seen the big screen. Now, so you're talking in past tense. Are they disconnected with you now since David's gone? Do you still interact with the extraterrestrials?
Yeah, I'm still very much will be and always will be because it's like I said, we're connected as a second family. No, I still go with them, and they're still working with me, and it sounds strange, but I've never named one of my books. They give me 3 names, 3 titles, just like on this last one, and they just simply said, choose one. So that's what I did. I chose this certain title. But we just talk. We talk almost like you and I are talking, except when the learning parts were there to listen and absorb it and take it in. And they also explain a lot about how they can only give us so much at a time because we're living as a human in a human world. And the mind can't process but very little at a time. They told me, I've never read the statistics myself, but that the human brain can only hold about 10%. But they said we've given you both. We have given you enough to fill your brain. So they said there's areas that man will probably never even know of that is in our brain. So they worked with us all the time. And Edgar Casey, he has been with us forever. So I would see Edgar, and Edgar, I have a lot of messages from him in his own writing. But we just had such a full assortment of things going on, and yet we're having to live this secret life all those years as a regular family and school things and all the things you get to do. And yet we're seeing spirits everywhere we go, solid as you or me or anybody else, and giving messages, or they're telling me something, maybe a message for me or my son or both of us. So it's been a pretty exciting life, but it's also, when they give you these things, they said they gave us every gift there was, because when we came back into this world, it's dark. It's very dark. And we came from love and light again, while we were back on the other side. And they said, you will need these gifts, and you will have them like a coat of armor, because you're going to need it there. So that's kind of summed it up. Yeah. So,
that's kind of that's what they told me. But sometimes I feel so isolated. At least you had the two of you. A lot of times I feel so alone, But I think that's what makes me do this show and seek out people like you. Is that that's my soul family. That's where I come from. The same place. Yet I hear all these dark stories of people, and I've learned to be a therapist, and I listen to them because I know that once if you witness people, they can come through, and I help them in their journey to come through to the light side of this whole thing. But you're where I came from, so I look at these people astonished. It's like, oh my God, you've had this incredible negative experience, and yet all of my connections have been positive and loving and kind. And so, so I've been blessed. I've been blessed like you. But, they said that you need this coat of armor to get through this life.
Yes, we do, because you're absolutely right. I mean, in the books I talk about how I never, when I was little, I didn't fit in anywhere. I didn't have any friends, and when I was real little, I didn't know what was going on, or why I seemed different than the other kids, and what was it. And it really puts you through a lot of thinking, and so my son, he was the same way. When he was born, he almost died because I knew he was struggling to adjust to even being back in this world, even though we chose to come back to help others all we could. But it's wonderful to talk to you and people like that, because you do feel all alone. You just do.
Yeah. So what is your life like now that your son's on the other side? Do you have family and friends that you live with, or they live near you, or do you have a support system?
Yes, I'm very blessed. My family nearly all live in the same area I do. there's a few that live a little north of me, but it's not so far we can't see one another. So I'm very blessed, and no, I don't talk much about any of these things we're even talking about.
Okay.
I haven't yet.
That's the loneliness for me. It's like, I'm surrounded by people we could talk about safe things like the weather, but I can't be real with them. And on the internet, with all these people that come to our shows and our guests, that's where I can be real. But in my own world, if I tell people what I do, they look at me like I've got, horns sticking out of my head, and I go, okay, I can't be authentic with a lot of people.
Oh, I
but
know.
Here, it's free, yeah.
Yeah, it
Wow.
can be very, very lonely because, I'm sure we're an awfully alike. I can't even talk alike because of what you're saying. It's so wonderful when I go to the conferences and everything, and all the open minds, and I feel free, and my spirit feels free. But I don't want to, I don't try to get anyone to believe what's happened to me. I mean, that's just me. I don't know how else to live except the way I came in. That's what I do, and I love to work with people in the Reiki. My son did too, and I love to see anything, or if I can say something or give a message to make someone relieved or feel much better. That's the whole joy of everything. It's just the joy of it. Yeah,
that's great. So what did they say, or what are you going to call your next book, and when might we have that out?
Well, the new one came out the first of the year, and the name I chose, Aliens Within Our Own Selves. And it's all based on a true story, every bit of it is. And it's about, we're hybrids, of course, and it talks about that. But it's just full of their words, not my words, and everything that they want told to start out with. I have had so many great experiences, I don't know where to start, because when my son was terminal, he had DOAs, he had near-death experiences, and he lived 19 years, which the doctors could not believe, but we knew why he did, because the ETs would take us, and they would work with him.
What did he have?
And I know he had a cancer, but it spread everywhere, and the chemo created so many problems that eventually his body just wore down, and the organs, it was so hard on him, but he never complained one time. He looked like a ray of sunshine. Everybody just couldn't get over how that big old smile would light up a room. But never did he complain, because he chose what he chose, and he wanted to give his life to help others learn love and compassion, faith, and things like that. So I was very, very proud of him.
So he lived 19 years with all that.
Yeah, he did. They were now the doctors. I think the most shocked, he was going blind towards the end, but during those years when he was losing his sight, the one eye was pretty well already blind, and I remember the ETs came and took him, and we were told they were going to help him. They would always tell us ahead when they were coming, or if it would be that evening, that day. They came day and night. There wasn't just night stuff. And anyway, they would work on his eye, and I have messages in there that they said exactly what they did to his eye. So I remember he had a one-day surgery, and that was just to take off an outer covering that medication had caused. It had caused this thing to grow over his eye, and they said it had to come off. But they said, David, you won't see. Well, we were getting yes, he would see, but you can't. We just said, I understand. So they took him again that night, and after the surgery, after the next day, when they took the bandage off, he read 20/20 out of that eye. And the doctor he went and got some colleagues of his. There was 5 or 6 that came in that room, and one was crying when he came out and said he can see. So this book's got a lot of miracles in it too. It's inspiring, especially the second book they had me write of him, and they came to me and said, you are to write the story of David now, to help the world and to give faith and love and compassion and inspire other people. So a lot of those miracles are in that book. They just couldn't believe him. I mean, they just couldn't understand him.
Wow. Alexandra, do you have a question or comments for Ruth Ann?
Oh, well, I'm grateful for you being on the show, and that you were really erasing boundaries, and for others, are you doing coaching and counseling at all to help others, or how can they get your book? How can they, make contact with their galactic family? Because I think the audience would like to do that.
Okay, I go to a lot of UFO conferences, and I have my books at the conferences. I just came from the last one in July in Dulce, New Mexico, and got to be a speaker there. So I was happy to have the books, because the first one starts out with the 7 spirits that was in the house when we bought it. And they became like family, and I write about them, who they were, and what all they would do, and I got a lot of pictures. You put some on, I noticed, on tonight's page on my some of them
somewhere.
I appreciated that. So we knew all of them and called them by name and so on. And at the time, I didn't have all my memories back yet, but I just knew that they were helping us in a lot of ways. And one I credit with saving my life. So I looked back. They started leaving when my son left, and I knew that was going to happen. And I realized what teachers they were to us as my children grew up, and was great teachers to me in different ways. They had a job to do, and they did it really well, so they went on. But the second one then, like I said, the story of David, and the third one is Aliens Within Our Own Selves, and they're on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and in e-books and softcover and so on like that. Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for the listeners, you can say, I only interact with the highest emissaries of peace and love, and you do not allow any non-loving entities into your aura, into your environment. Just say that they do not belong, and they have no power over you. So that we begin the show standing in your magnificence. Reach up to the sky and stand in your golden, silver, white light of perfection. Each and every being, and we invite those who are in a non-loving frequency to come to the light. We have 5D Aquarians, and they are master healers and willing to work with any being, seen, unseen, on this side or the other side of the veil. There is just a huge amount of love. All you have to do is touch your heart and say, I receive it. I want that love in my life. Because we all came through the great central sun. It's actually our one true inheritance, is that love. And the shift of coming into unity.
Alexandra, I think sometimes when people have negative experiences with discarnates and extraterrestrials, it seems to be some kind of attraction, law of attraction and action. Because for what I get, Ruth Ann, you've had mostly positive experiences. I don't even know if you've had any negative experiences, even though some people might perceive their son dying of cancer as an extreme negative experience. But by having it filtered through your own mindset that everything is positive, is that what I'm getting, Ruth Ann? Is that, yeah. So
yes,
for example, I had a reptilian come to me for many, many years. And when I was young, I perceived it as negative because he was trying to communicate with me, and his vibratory frequency of his telepathic communication was different than the other entities that I had been dealing with. And it felt strange. So I freaked out and got upset. But then years later, I did hypnosis, and it was like, oh, he was just trying to communicate with me, and his vibratory frequency was different. And if I would have just not freaked out, I could have gotten in line with that as a child, and I would have received this wonderful communication from, a reptilian. But because I had judged reptilian, probably because of my Christian upbringing, that might be the devil or Satan, there was some kind of my own stuff. And then years later after that, I'm writing my book, and he comes through me telepathically, and the communication's fine. We have this forgiveness thing where we forgive each other, we love each other. I'm sitting here crying, and I'm going, oh, of love. And it was all my own, my own crap. So when I do the life review, you see, we're not fixed in time. You could go back any time and fix the past by doing it again over, even your own mind. So I go back and I reprogram myself and I redo that scenario, because we all time travel all the time. And then I've actually changed the past. And so anything that I perceive, I take personal responsibility for everything, and I go, I'm going to go rewrite that scene.
I love
it from
that. Is
the highest.
That is so.
Yeah.
There's no limitation. I love that sharing, Janet, because this is inspiring. That you don't have to accept what is. You are a co-creator, and you can edit your own film and create community, peace, and love. That is so true. I love it.
Everything
I love
can
it.
be. It's fluid. It's fluid. The whole past, future is fluid. So that's what this show's been about. I haven't paid attention to news, but I think we're changing this hurricane. Just like we do over here in Maui, we change the hurricanes and we poof them with a big giant mountain, and they can't do the harm. But I really, well, we have Ruth Ann here because you're such a gem, Ruth Ann, and I hope my vision is to create a conference where you and I get to sit down and share a cup of tea together, and look at each other from across the table and be in each other's energy. I'm sure we've met on board ship and other, lifetimes and things like that, because I have such an affinity for you and your work, and I just admire you and your son so much. And so I actually read books so I can just bask in all that stuff. I will do that. I rarely have time to read anymore, but sometimes with those long plane flights, I can sit down and read a book. But what are some of the main episodes that you could recall that will, because your story is so inspirational, what can we tell people in the time we have remaining about some of the interactions you've had? So you said there were two species they said to watch out for. One was a reptilian type being. Do you recall the second species?
Yes. I have, they described them in the way they would look, and they were more of a, they didn't use the word snake, but on the order of that type name, but it wasn't that name. But they also made it clear that doesn't mean all of them. There's good reptilians, just like you said, but we would know. They knew we would know the minute anything like that came to us or tried to come through. and we had a lot of things come through. But I was going to tell you something here on these different councils. This one, for instance, from the Tri-Council, here's how their messages would be. To Earth Mother and male offspring, the subject, eternal love. Then they would say, a soul is giving many opportunities to develop and expand by living through adversity. Growth is never easy and can be accomplished only by experiencing every aspect of a situation and fully comprehending it. This is the end of the transmission for now, but love, light, happiness, and joy. Go forth and live each moment in Christ's light. His light glows from thy face. TBC, meaning the New Tri-Council. There will be more transmissions coming. See, we would just get all kinds of the one aboves from the Etheric Council. It says again, to Earth Mother, male offspring, subject, the Etheric Council message, to help a soul get ready for its next passage. There is a group of highly evolved beings in spirit what make up what is known as the Etheric Council. These beings have completed earthly incarnations and make recommendations to help other spirits develop their life plan, the spiritual objective and soul wants to accomplish in the upcoming life. This plan outlines the incarnation as a sort of a blueprint of opportunities needed for a soul's advancement. The exact details of the plan are left to a spirit to decide. This is where free will comes in, and each soul is unique. The heavenly knowledge and wisdom of each life is incorporated into its memory, so it may choose something like a location in an upcoming life that is familiar. All the answers to all of the problems lie within. Any trial or tribulation is merely a test to see if we can uncover the spiritual solution. They signed the Etheric Council. But these are the kinds of things over the years. They were always so beautiful and so uplifting, and they always were always talking about the Christ light, and I know many of these were Christ light beings. And
so could you explain to us what that means to be Christ-like or Christed or be the Christ?
Okay.
Did they explain
the reason well, a lot of them, take for instance, when one of the main councils would come, and I won't name any particular council because I was naming 5, I think, earlier, but when this certain one came, both, we were so humbled because it was like seeing an old friend you loved with everything in you that you had always loved. And this one from the High Council would come, and they said that this one from the High Council, these beings were right under the Creator, meaning they were that high, meaning that's the level they were on and working from. So and then all these messages that I only read a couple, but you can see where they were coming from. You know, it was all love and light and compassion and to fill your heart and soul. I laughed one time, I said, I don't have any bad stories to tell. I don't have any to even write about because from the time I was little, pure love. And and with my son, you know, and we were never afraid, never, because they always told us, we will be with you, we surround you, and we protect you. And in your work, you never have to worry because we will always be there. So we also had help from some of the archangels of moving through different realms that would be with us. And it's what the whole point of my books are is this, that everything was created at one time. I don't, you can say humans, but everything was created at that one time. So these beings out in the universe were created at the same time as this little planet Earth with the humans on it, and a lot of people don't want to believe there's anything else out there. But there's millions and millions and all kinds of species everywhere. So
Right. They're just everywhere. Trillions of species. And, Oh, I was so inspired by what you were saying. Yeah, at one point, I think the way it works is we're actually all of it. So at one point, I connected with, and I gave it a name because I, as a human being, need to give it a name. But I connected with this aspect, and it's actually an aspect of self. So when you're encountering that highest being that's right up beside source, oneness, universal consciousness, that's actually your highest and highest self, right? And so I connected with Joy. We call her Joy. And I said to Joy, well, where are you? And she says, oh, and she laughed, this really fast laugh, and it's very high. And, well, okay, you need a place. It's 39 degrees to the right-hand side of God. So I had this whole dialogue with the highest divine being, and I identified her as feminine, but it was just because that's what I need to have, this human self, to relate to be able to interact with her. But it is that Omni Vashivaya, that everything is one, and this point of ecstatic unity consciousness that we have the ability to connect with. But it's so high, it's like you have to come back down here. I mean, to come back to this vibratory frequency and human, it was like, okay, it's good. I don't want to burn out, right? I thought I could burn out because high frequency connecting with this being. So I understand their need to protect us because we've agreed to come down into this lower vibratory frequency and learn how to bring heaven to earth. Like yourself, you're one of the few people, like you're just so amazing. But you came in like this. It's you're full of the Christic consciousness and full of love, and everything is through the positive. And I know a lot of people they don't like that because that's their distant self, so they can't. They have trouble when I'm all love and light and joy. They have trouble with that. They go, So yes, I've learned to be able to walk in the world. I don't judge anybody. It's like, okay, so I'll come down here and we'll talk for a while. But I always bring them up higher. That's my goal. So maybe I'm bad there. I'm manipulating them to their higher self. But if they don't want to go there, they won't. They'll just they'll defend their negativity and their bad world with every ounce of their blood. They would just defend it. It's like, okay, so that's where you want to be. Enjoy it. If you're going to be in the mud, in the quagmire, and you're down there and miserable, then, enjoy your experience, because on some level, I guess, these people need to experience it. And so who am I to judge what a soul needs to experience, right?
Yeah, it's just Earth School. We're just learning here, and we didn't have to come back anymore, and but we want to, so we keep coming back because we want to help all we can. But it's all one. Yes, it's we are all one, and that's exactly right. I just can't believe sometimes how wonderful it's been, because and I think to get to do the work and use the energy healing and all those things make me so happy. I love it. Of course I miss my son desperately in a physical form, but I'm blessed to know that, because we can still work together, and I still hear him if he has anything, and that's every day. I mean, he'll be right. His spirit is always with me. I remember one time when the Great Council came, and we'd been at the hospital all day, and when we walked in the living room, I have a picture of this in this book of mine. There were 5 cushions that had been taken off of my sofa, and 4 faced the west, and 2 faced the east. Well, they said we were from all the directions, all 4, but the east was the strongest one. So I noticed the 2 were facing east, our direction. And they had left, I have the paper here in the picture on the floor where they had left their message. And they were letting us know that they would be coming that night, and we were to be named with universal names. The mother is to name the son, and the son is to name the mother. And after that, all of the universes everywhere would know us by our given names. But we weren't to tell each other until after this universal celebration. We couldn't tell each other what we chose, until after that. So they said, we may let you remember it, and they may not. I think they have to decide if that's too much or what. I don't know what the reasons are, really. So I remember we each went to our separate rooms, and I chose a name for him, and he chose a name for me, and we didn't tell one another at all. And then the next day when they came back, they said, and now we could share the names with one another. So they told us from then on we would be known by those names, and so we were just ecstatic. I think him being terminal so many years, my boy, by working in what we were, it just made him so happy and happy to help others. And I think that's why I know it was really hard on him. He had so many horrible times, and they would tell me he wouldn't live the day, but I could see angels as far as you could see, and the gold light shine down on him, and they would always tell me, for he shall be well. So I knew every time I heard those words, he suffered greatly, but I knew he would survive and get well again and go into maybe a remission every single time. But the last time I knew I would never hear those words. I knew I wouldn't. I knew it was time. So, that was agonizing. Well, from a little boy he knew. But, he chose and I chose, you chose, and of course a lot of people will never know they did, and it doesn't matter, But, it was hard to know that one day, but, we knew it was for a great cause, a great reason, and, but anyway, we still can work together. And when I do Reiki, his energy is there so strong, and when I get up every morning, he's saying something, and I'm saying something back with telepathically, and, sometimes I hear him out loud.
Did you have other children? Was he your only child?
No, I have 3 beautiful daughters. I'm so proud of.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Yeah, it's just that he and I worked in this work, and I see a couple of my daughters coming in I'm seeing them starting a little bit, and I am real happy. I don't know what all their journey is, but yes, and I saw many lifetimes with my children today back in those lifetimes also. And my mother and father, who never, ever spoke one time of a UFO or an ET, and then when we started going, there they are on the ships, and they always came to the house after they passed. I mean, we had interaction all the time. We always have with spirits, and I was so surprised. I just was like, wow. And they never mentioned it in their lifetime. But see, maybe their memories had been erased, that it wasn't meant to be this time. They have different ways they work with our memories. So. But,
when I was working with Michael Jackson died. He came to me, and we worked with him for like 4 to 6 weeks. And at the very end, he said, well, I'm going to go back to the ship. And I went, I still questioned that. I go, what? He's going back to the ship? But here you're talking about, they're going back to the ship. Can you tell us more about that? What's going on with the ship? What ship? And then my best friend, when I was in State College, which was about 30 years ago, we would do past life regression, and she remembered being Marilyn Monroe. In fact, when I met her, our first conversation, she said, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" And that was not the usual conversation you have at Penn State University with someone you're just meeting, but she felt safe to say it. And then I said, "Yes, I do." And as soon as she said that, I knew that she was Marilyn Monroe, because she had all her mannerisms. And then I just said to her, I smiled, and I go, okay, how did you die? What really happened? And we were just in the conversation, and she's telling me what happened. I'm not going to share that here.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty. But so we would do some more regression around her life as Marilyn, and she got more and more details. And then she said, you're the UFO people, but you know what happened after I died? I said, what? She says, well, I went on board a ship, and I had a conversation. Norma Jean and Marilyn split into two people, and we had a conversation. And then I stayed on the ship. I go, you went on a ship? So these people going on the ship, so I'm going, well, what's going on?
Yeah, right, yes.
Ruth, Ruth Ann? Oh,
yes.
When you this is all so awesome because it's like we're right on the very close to really thriving as a galactic society. And when you were speaking about the councils, I'd love it if I can introduce you to Dr. Z, if 301 is in the queue, because and Janet, and when Janet and I were talking, you know, it was like, it's a sisters from the stars, you know, we and our brothers and sisters who are paradise sons and daughters, we just have it we know that this earth can be a paradise, and 90% of it actually already is. So how can we connect, create, and celebrate, you know, and in memory of your son, and he's still alive and well, you know, in the angelic realms and in your life and our life, you know, he's here with us on the show. We really can create a world that's, you know, preventing cancer, preventing heart disease, all these things. And Dr. Z, you know, he can help bring that to the table. I call it the party of life.
He's not in the queue, Alexandra. He's not in the queue. He didn't call in.
Oh, we don't have 301 on the line? Okay. Well,
no, we don't. Okay.
Offline, I could introduce them to you, Ruth Ann, because, you know, whatever you can share on tonight's show as far as, I know, you know, Janet's heart, my heart, your heart, many of the listeners, we would love to have galactic councils on the surface, you know, that are bringing in these technologies. We of the people, by the people, for the people. We come with a loving heart. We come to bring in free from harm and to share advanced technologies. And
so that's a good question, Alexandra, for Ruth Ann. Are they going to help us in any way? Are they going to? It's wonderful you had a connection, but how are they going to help humanity? You know, what are they going to do with us or for us, or are they going to do anything? What did you learn about that?
About how they're going to help humanity? Is that the question?
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of things they've been trying to do, but some people, it's like we understand one another, and we know, you know, that it's all truth and where it's coming from and what they're like and so on. But we all have to realize that that may never happen with others, you know. I mean, there's a jillion of us out there, that's for sure. But they talk a lot about of course, we all have free will, and free will's for eternity. So we can't. I think we know the people to go to, because just like tonight, I feel like I've known you guys forever. I think we know who to go to, and you have this beautiful station to get the word out. Golly, you're reaching no telling how many people with that. So that's a wonderful thing you're doing. But I also know they have told me before that you know, there will be those that you won't be able to reach, you know. But I used to worry over that. I used to get so concerned on it, but they said no, not to. And, you know, like the things we're talking about tonight, they also was very, I appreciate it so much because they would say not to let anybody upset me in any way about my work. Or if they don't like your books, that's nothing, because that's nothing. It's because they shouldn't even be reading them because they do not understand them, you know. And so I guess sometimes my human thoughts, like we talked earlier about when people don't know how you really are, and you wonder, well, how will they be when they know, and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So they're always trying to help me out and make me realize that more and more. So I don't think there's a way. This is just my opinion. To ever get everybody on any one wavelength. I think everybody's different. Everybody has their own thoughts, and I think that it's going to just take time. And maybe it's just like one day they decide, hey, maybe there is a lot to this. We just don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, but it seems to me like people are becoming way more open than just a few years ago.
Same here. It seems like there's changing, especially when you focus on the people that are changing. It's like
yeah, right.
Shift your attention from all the negativity and go focus and create that energy with those people who are riding the positive wave. Or then you turn back and you look at the negative. It seems to have dissipated it somewhat and changed it. It's like we're very effective if we don't allow ourselves to get distracted by the bad stuff.
Right. Yeah. I know. Yeah, Edgar. He's all, like I said, we've been together way before Atlantis, but he's always was coming and saying to slow down. We were so excited in the work. He said, I don't want you to burn out like I did before time, So I get going on things, and David does, and maybe we're trying to do several things at once that our human side really, it's hard on us, And I'm talking about maybe we start doing a lot of people with Reiki, and then we're also over here doing something else, and then something else. I bet you did the same thing. You're always trying to help people in some way. And so he would come and say that quite often. You got to slow down because, you don't want to burn out too soon like I did and so on like that.
Yeah, it's like on the plane. Like on the plane, you got to give yourself. It's like on the plane, you got to give yourself the oxygen mask first before you go out and help everybody. Because if you burn out, then so it's a balance. You're taking care of these bodies are fragile, and so that's why you have to do some self-care so you can care about yourself. Yeah. Well, we're running out of time here. We're running out of time here, Ruth Ann. I want you to mention your books again, the titles. They're on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble. What are the books you have? You have 2 books or 3 books?
3. There's 3 now. The first one's Under the Rainbow Crossing, and that's about the house we moved in many years ago that the 7 spirits became like a second family and were very helpful, protective, and so on, and that they had an agenda to be here for a certain length of time. And then the second one was after my son passed, and they came and said, and now you are to write the story of David. And it's very inspirational and deals a lot about loss of loved ones and so on, and miracles, lots of miracles. And the third new one is Aliens Within Our Own Selves, and it's written for our ET families and what they wanted to say and what they're about and what their purpose is and why they can only help Earth with some things, but they can't with everything because they said man has to learn. Man never learns, and they don't plan on, they don't want anything to happen to Earth. They said, look at it this way, Earth, out in the universe, if something would happen to Earth, it would be like a bowling ball hitting the pin.
We're out of time. Your website, real quick. What is your website? Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. You too, Janet. Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Welcome to the Total Wireless Store, where total confidence awaits.
I am done dealing with data overages.
Don't worry, you got this at the Total Wireless Store. Bring your number and get 15 gigs of data for $50 on the nation's best 4G LTE network. And during our 50% more data promotion, you'll actually get 22.5 gigs for the same price.
22.5 for 50? That's a gig deal.
Data it is.
Discover the Total Wireless Stores and get total confidence. The latest phones, the best network, all at great prices. Ends January 2nd, 2019. Excludes ports from TracFone Wireless Inc. brands. Terms at TotalWireless.com.